Hello and welcome to the 33rd episode of the Saints Prime podcast. I'm joined with Harry. And I'm joined with Mikey. Sorry,
we do it different every episode. We don't go before the episode.
There is no consistency anymore.
No, I'm sorry.
I mean, it rolls right in line with the Southampton philosophy. So if anything, we're doing this podcast perfectly.
Nice.
Very true.
Yeah. So, questions, Harry? Have we got any questions?
Question number one, and the only question for today: Aid Lodgers possible January transfer targets and departures. What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I don't have any in mind. Do you guys have any ones that you specifically want? Because I know there's been some rumours, and we can go on to those in a bit. But ones that anyone that you specifically seen that you think would be suitable for us?
I haven't.
It's the Jared Bowen party on Twitter have just gone absolutely mental because he scored a couple goals in the last few weeks. But once again, I don't really think he's a player that we need. You know, the amount of attacking talent that we have already, we'd have to get rid of someone to bring him in. So apart from that, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, to be honest with you. Anyone that would be that appropriate. That's what the scouts are there for.
Yeah. Okay.
I would wonder. You know, Eric Garcia, the one at Man City, the young centre back, the one that played against us in the League Cup. He looked very good when he played. I think he's like 19, very composed on the ball, looks quite good, solid defensively. Don't know if bringing him in would be an option, but I'm guessing
he's only 18.
We'll probably look more for experience than and he's never been in this situation before. Do you know what? Screw that. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if we don't have ideas ourselves, we can go to some transfer rumours. So Mikey, are you able to give us some of the transfer rumours that come in?
Oh God, I wasn't on that website.
Okay.
Well, whilst he's doing that, who do you think might leave?
Cedric's pretty much confirmed, isn't he?
Is he?
Well, he wants to leave at the end of his contract, and I think Wolves are interested in him because they love a Portuguese player. So yeah, I think he might be on his way out in January, and he'll bring in a bit of money in as well. I think he's about 7 million or something like that. So,
that's all right. Yeah, I think the club will be looking to try and get something from him just to put it back in the transfer kitty because we're kind of on this floating, whatever it's called. So 7 million out will give us 7 million to spend. So we might get a 7 million centre back in. But
didn't actually realize we only spent 5 million on Cedric. That's a proper good transfer. That was.
It's really true.
Yeah, it was. How successful do you think the Cedric transfer's been? In 10 out of 10 being Van Dijk and 1 out of 10 being Osvaldo, or
I'd say 7 because he's when he's played. I know he hasn't he was to blame a lot for Pellegrino, but that probably wasn't his fault because he was the one marking the tall player. It should have been the centre back marking the tall player.
Yeah,
fine. But I would say a 7 because under Koeman he was a very good right back. He sort of matched Klein in that way in his replacement, but. Yeah, over the last couple of years, he hasn't been as effective. He was loaned out last year as well. So, I think he's definitely a more European competition player. If he's in a team that is good, he's very effective. If he's not in a team that's good, he's not very effective. And I think it's proven over the last couple of years that he hasn't been as effective as he was at the start.
Yeah, I think he needs to be in a confident team, doesn't he? I don't think he's good at basically, doing the hard basics. I think he is just like almost a little bit of like a flair, not like a flair player, but you know what I mean? Someone who's kind of like who needs that confidence and given that confidence on the ball, whereas sometimes in previous seasons he's had to just get the ball out, and that's when he's resorted to lumping it along, which he's not really that good at. So I think, when he's under pressure or things like that, but if he has a bit of confidence and a bit of time, I think he is actually quite good on the ball.
If he's got a couple of good centre-backs next to him and a decent partner in front of him, he's fine. But he's not effective on his own. He can't go round players. He can't really tackle. He can't really out-strength anyone. He needs someone with him there to help him out.
Doesn't really sell him that much, does it, to be honest?
No, it doesn't. Wolves, come on.
Come on, buy him. He can't really tackle, can't really take his man on. I mean,
he's better than
other than that, he's fine. He's a perfect right back.
Okay, so yeah, Mikey, have you got the transfer?
Currently, there's two really rumoured around us bringing them in. Aaron Long, from New York Red Bulls.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's the 27-year-old American.
He's 27.
27.
Yeah, he won. He won America's Best Defender, I think.
Yeah, and apparently he's in the shortlist
at the
for
MLS.
Player of the Year in total, but
yeah,
I doubt he'll get it because he's going against all the other ones.
I like this signing. I really like this signing.
Well, we haven't done it yet.
I know, but like just as an idea, I know he's 27, but at the moment we sort of need that experience, mate. Because currently we've got like an average age of 23, I think, or 24. Mm. We're a very young squad. We're a very inexperienced squad.
The second name's Long. Is that what it is?
No, that's not what it is. I don't need a second Long in my life.
But I look at his previous teams, and they're all from the MLS. That doesn't give me confidence in his quality. He might be experienced, but that doesn't give me confidence in his quality, let's say. And then obviously he's not got room to develop because he's sort of almost at his peak. That's my sort of thinking behind it.
But Jimmy Conrad's American.
he almost came to Southampton, actually. Jimmy Conrad actually almost came to Southampton.
Well, you look at a lot of the MLS players, and they're attacking-wise, they are very heavily centred because there's always seemed like there's one team that will get a very good experienced striker in. So I wonder what that testing's like for him to play, you know, like veterans of the games that go over there, you know, like Rooney, David Villa, Ibrahimovic, all those ones that go over there. It'd be interesting to see, you know, because if they are there, they may be a little bit past their prime, but they still have undoubted quality. And if he can perform well against them, I don't know if it's a active comparison against the Premier League, but I guess you must have some sort of experience with age and playing against good players. I'm not sure, but then again, Bradley Wright Phillips did get how many goals? He got about 30.
He's the greatest MLS striker ever.
Yeah,
which is a little bit worrying, but
considering we saw him play for us.
There
we go.
I think it's stories.
Is there another one possibly there, Mikey?
There is Ryan Manning, who's currently at QPR. He's a central midfielder. I think he's Republic of Ireland international, but not too sure. I think we were interested in him in the summer.
Right, okay.
I think the interest is just spiked up a little bit more because we're going around January, but I don't really know anything about either of them.
Okay.
You sort of sprung this up on me, really.
Yes. And what about, there was a centre-back that we were talking about just before we started. Was it Mohamed Salusa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Currently at some team in Spain. Ghanaian youngster.
There you go. Go on, Tis. What was it again?
Real Valladolid, apparently.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Ghanaian youngster. He's got like a £10 million release clause, but I don't. If we sign him at centre back again, what's the point in signing Danso? That's sort of
well, Danso's
a little bit around that.
If Ralph hasn't liked what he's seen so far, then you know.
Yeah.
You know, with a deadline day signing that took a deal sheet to get it through, did Ralph really get the quality he wanted, or because I know he's probably been held in good regard because he's come in late and people wanted to see it, but you know, have we not seen something at a training ground that, you know, does Ralph see him a lot more and not quite trust him? I don't know.
Ryan Manning's a left back, so he'll come in and go in for Bertrand, I would have thought. Or be the backup, one of the two.
Be pushing back up or something like that, yeah.
But he's had a very good year in the Championship so far, a goal and 3 assists at left back. So.
Oh, okay. There we go. So is that everything for the transfers?
I think so. Yeah, I'll be more prepared last week because at the moment I just had to type it up now.
Okay. We'll give you a bit more warning for next week. Is that you'll have a week to keep an eye on?
I'll have a week for transfers. So that's fine by me.
You can be our little scout for transfers.
Yeah, there we go.
That'll be your little segment, and you can, you know, update us
on transfers
on a weekly
basis. Would you be able to do press conferences as well?
Yeah, sure. Press conference is just finished. The whole of the press conference was basically saying that everyone like we could have beaten Arsenal by 4 or 5 goals, but we didn't, and like it was a good performance. We have to march on from it, even with the disappointing late equaliser. And then about the game against Watford, Stuart Armstrong's out with a hamstring injury. Jan Vestergaard was sick and missed training on Thursday, so he's probably not going to play. Boufal's been out for the last 3 days after stubbing his toe in his kitchen. So, like, it's... Yeah. But it was just sort of a motivating. The players should be proud of themselves for it, and that we should still put in a decent performance even with the late goal from last week.
So, how do you guys feel about hearing the latest injury news? Does that worry you? Do you think we've got enough depth to carry on from there? What's your kind of thoughts?
I'm disappointed that Armstrong's out because I think he did quite well against Arsenal. I was hoping that he would definitely be in there, but unfortunately not.
But in this case, it's out of control, isn't it, rather than selection-wise. But yeah, I thought he did have a good game against Arsenal. We've always talked about 4 at the back and attacking midfield, and we got it against Arsenal and got 2 goals and played well. It was, again, just the defensive side that was the issue. However, we had the defensive issues with 5 at the back, so it makes me wonder whether we, do try and just put some more focus on our attacking play and try and seal the game when we can, because you think we could have conceded late against Arsenal if Gineppo put in 2 of those chances. It could have been 4-2
a little bit more
instead
different,
of 2-2.
But I wouldn't say it's like horrendous, because you got people. So Ward-Prowse could move up and Romeo tucks in at a CDM role. Josh Sims is back and he's had a week in training, so he might come in at that point. Boufal might be fit, so he might slot in. Gineppo could start instead of being on the bench. There's lots of different options that could happen. I'd like to see us stick with a 4-2-2-2 though, so I think that would be probably the best thing to do.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
There we go. That's my analysis on it.
Yeah. That sounds good. We can move into the whole Watford preview if you want. If you were interested in hearing our Arsenal reaction, we did a podcast for that. When was it released? It was Friday. No, not
Sunday.
No, Sunday.
It was released. Yeah.
It was released before the game on the Friday.
The amount of podcasts that we're going to be doing, we've got the Watford
Christmas
reaction,
and
then we've got the Norwich reaction, and then we've got we're going to do a build-up podcast to the Norwich one, or should we just combine it into this one?
Which one's
We'll just put
Shall we discuss this after the podcast?
Yeah, let's do this after the podcast. Let's do it a bit later.
Yeah.
But
planning.
Over the Christmas one, we'll try and do one all together because we've done these remote ones. But I mean, if you guys are up for it, if you want to sack us off, then that's fine. But I'm happy to. If we get like the old times, we'll get around the same desk. We could probably do Chelsea result, Palace preview. That could be.
What happened to moving on?
We'll do that. We'll do that if you guys are happy to
criticise me and then do it yourself.
Right, Watford.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got next.
Okay, so admin over. We'll actually have a look at the Watford game now. How do we always do this? Lineup, thoughts, prediction? Is that kind of what we normally do?
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to replace Stuart Armstrong? Stuart started the last game, did well. Who's going to take his place?
I think Gineppo's going to come in off the bench. Pretty much a straight swap, I would have thought, hopefully.
What position did Armstrong actually play against Arsenal? Was it out wide or?
I think he was out on the right and Redmond was on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense for the 4-2-2-2 formation. So I believe that's as long as do you think we'll keep the same system? Because I know he looks good in that formation, but Ralph has a tendency to change up the system. Do you think we'll stick with the same one?
I would like to see us stick to the same one.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Højbjerg and Ward-Prowse in the midfield again, because I'm not going to lie, I was very excited that Romeo was not starting. I was incredibly excited about that because I've been calling it for like the start of the season.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see that we could actually transition, and we transitioned faster without Romeu. And we actually still won the ball back high up. Our midfield was still strong without him. Like Romeu's just sort of like a one plug player, and you can't really have that in the Premier League anymore. You can't have a player that just does one job. They have to be good at multiple things. Romeu's fantastic tackling wise and defensively. As soon as he's on the ball, he can't really pick a pass. Doesn't really have the vision for it. He sort of just lays it off to the person next to him. And at least Ward-Prowse and Højbjerg are like effective on the ball, while Romeu isn't.
I always kind of have an affinity with Romeu just because of that amazing season that he had. But I guess I got to kind of put into perspective that was 3 years ago now, and the league's changed from that point. You've got to be more. You've just got to be stronger in that position. You've got to just be more well-rounded, like you said, Mike. The fact that you can't just have one person doing one specific job because you'll get found out. And I think if you can do everything, it just gives you so much more versatility and to put players elsewhere. I mean, you look at someone, I can't think of a specific example, but there's players out there that can not only win the ball strong in the challenge, they can bring it out and take a man on all at the same time. Look at Fernandinho, he's playing centre-back for Man City at the moment, but he's just a defensive midfielder, but he's just so technically well-rounded that he can slip into centre-back without any issues. That's the kind of players you're up against now.
Probably the perfect example at the moment is Frankie de Jong at Barcelona. He can pretty much do everything on the ball. He's quality he is, and it's a shame that we didn't pick him up in the summer.
I did hear we're in for him as well, so it's disappointing to lose out.
Unfortunately, Barcelona somehow is a bigger club. I don't understand
People just going for the bigger wages nowadays. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. He's not gone to the team. He's not gone to the team with the bigger history. He's gone for Barcelona instead.
Yeah. How many FA Cups have Barcelona won?
Exactly. They've never won the JCC.
There we go. So we got McCarthy. Keep McCarthy goal. Would that?
I'd keep the same. I'd keep the same 11 that played out there against Arsenal. McCarthy, Bertrand, Benarek, Steven, Cedric, Redmond, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse, Gineppo in for Armstrong. Keep Obafemi and Ings up top. So I think Obafemi does bring that pace in behind. Him and Long could probably interchange quite easily, I would have thought, because they're just very similar players in that way, aren't they? They just lump ball in behind and they'll just chase it down.
Yeah.
They don't score easy tap-ins either, so it's...
I mean, to be fair, that wasn't really Obafemi's fault.
No, but he did it against Tottenham a couple of years ago, so there's always a difference.
But then, who's going to come off the bench then? Because we know we got Armstrong and Buffal both out. What options do we have on the bench to kind of bring on to change the game?
Long, Sims.
Okay, Sims. I didn't think about Sims. Yeah.
Do you think Che Adams will be reintroduced to the squad?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I think one striker and a couple of midfielders can give you that kind of. I guess Romeu will be on the bench, won't he? But he can't really. I don't know.
That's a very attacking impact substitution.
No, but what I'm saying, if you're up in a game and. Ward-Prowse is on a card or something and you need to solidify the defence, you can put Romeu and him doing his one job, breaking up the defence. That could be a possibility.
Could see one of the youngsters maybe get on the bench. Dan Indaloo might get on there. Callum Slattery, he's been doing really well in the under-23, so he might do it.
That's kind of, like a winger or something to kind of either replace Redmond or...
Is Nathan Teller still at the club?
He is to the club, but if you're saying is he? I don't imagine.
No, is he out on loan or is he not?
I don't believe so. Anyway, I don't believe so.
That's what I was asking. All right, Tiz, just calm yourself, man.
So we've done. So line up, we kind of pretty much stick the same, apart from obviously moving around the injuries and things like that. Approach-wise, how do you reckon we're going to attack this game?
Towards their goal.
2 ways, isn't it? Thank you very much, Harry. Fantastic analysis there. It's going to go 1 of 2 ways. We're either going to Southampton it up, or we'll score in the first 15 minutes, and hopefully it'll be very much like Fulham from last season, where it was just very comfortable. It was quite unnerving. were just winning 2-0 quite comfortably. I'd like to see that. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But it'll be like a really scrappy 1-0 or whatever. Either way, it'll just be a horrible game to watch. And
what's Watford's away form like? Are they better home?
They're one victory away from home. Sorry, their one victory of the season was away against Norwich, and they didn't perform that well. But Norwich were very bad on the day, to be honest. So it's that sort of thing. Whereas they played Pereira and De La Feu up front, or something like that. Anyway, they've got a very odd system, but I think Troy Deeney's coming back, so that's fantastic.
Right. Yeah. They had De La Feu and Pereira up front. Decore, Capoue, Hughes. Decore is actually, is he quite? I think he's quite good in Decore.
He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's a horrible player who uses his hands, so we don't count him as a footballer.
Okay, yeah. No worries. Caballassi got a double yellow card against Norwich. I guess he'll be back then, won't he? Or after a 1-game suspension?
Probably.
Yeah, should be.
So he can come back, but I don't think
they look awful against Burnley. Like they've got good players, but they've, as seen from the table, they've not been good.
No.
And of course, they've already sacked their manager as well, haven't they?
I wouldn't be surprised if they sack the one they've got at the moment if they lose against us and lose the game on Wednesday or Tuesday.
De La Feu, they lined up with De La Feu and Gray up front against Burnley. I guess we're going to have a 5. They're going to play 5 at the back. So if we're confident enough to put 4 at the back against that 5, it will hopefully give us a chance to break them down from the off go.
Well, we showed last week with a better quality defence that we can break it down multiple times, even with 5 at the back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mariappa Dawson, Cathcart is the centre backs they've got. Holobas and Firmino. Holobas loves a card as well, so you could probably attack that side, see if you can try and get some pressure down there.
Apart from De La Feu, none of their names really make me think, oh, blimey, that's a really dangerous player. They're all quite. It's going to come back to bite, like I say, but they all seem quite bang average and nothing. They're like a glamorized version of Burnley. Nothing really interests me about their team. Look at their defence, and then you look at their midfield. Apart from Pereira, their strike force, Gray, Deeney. I know they haven't combined this season, but it's just not a very interesting team.
It's probably that feeling of going so close. Did they get Europa League or did they just fall short?
Almost.
They lost 6-0 in the FA Cup final, and Wolves got it over them as well.
Right.
But it was sort of towards the end of last season. You could sort of see it when we went up for the Watford away game. You could see they weren't a very good side. I don't understand where it all went. They just sort of depleted. I don't think they won any of their last 6 last season. Obviously, the FA Cup final didn't help, and then
no.
They haven't started this season very well. Sacked their manager after 6 games or so.
Yeah.
De La Feu, he's scored twice this season and got 2 assists. He's not had a very good year so far. So this is the game that he's going to turn up in.
Yeah. Well, it would be our luck, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But to be fair, this is probably one of the games where we always say the luck's been against us, but I don't see any particular reason why Watford should be up for this game. They've got no new manager boost. They haven't come off the back of a great result. They've had a bad game against Burnley. We've kind of said there's been a lot of games where we've fallen under misfortune, but there shouldn't really be a reason why Watford will be really that fired up for this game today. Today? Not today, yeah.
Today.
Blimey.
Saturday evening. I hope
kick off in an hour and a half. 18.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not really too sure what to think. I mean, hopefully we do the business, but with Saints, you're never quite sure, are you? There's always something that kind of holds you back a little bit.
No, for the last couple of seasons, it's always been quite a controversial game or something's excited happening. Last season you had 2 incidences where Charlie Austin's goal was chalked off for offside when Yoshi didn't touch the ball. Shane Long's incredible record-breaking goal was against them. Decore's handball also happened against Watford as well. So, and the 4-3 under Puel at Vicarage Road. So it's always some sort of excitement against Watford.
I'll take a boring 1-0.
Well.
1-0.
I'll take
okay,
so
it's your predictions then. Is you're going 1-0 then? You taking it 1-0? Is that
3-2.
your prediction?
I think it'll be a 3-2. No, I said I'd take a 1-0. I don't think it will happen because I don't trust that we'll have the composure. Like my problem is against, like I said last podcast, against Manchester City, we played well but didn't carry that on against Everton. And my concern is the same with Arsenal. Are they going to look at that draw in a positive way of, look, we played really well, we can build on this? Or they're going to go last minute goal again? We're not getting anything. We're not getting any luck. We're not getting it over the line. And now we've got Watford and Norwich, and they're the two biggest fixtures of our season. But I think always hope for 3-2.
What? 3-2, fair play. I think we'll get an early goal like we do because we start off well. Atmosphere will be good, and I think we'll probably get a goal later on as well. I reckon it'll probably stay out a little bit. So I reckon Watford will probably try and recollect, but around half time. So I reckon it'll be 1-0 going into half. I reckon we'll score around 75, and I reckon they'll get something cheap around 85 just to sour the mood. I reckon something like that. Enough so we couldn't be entirely happy, just relatively happy. I reckon. So I reckon 2-1. That's my prediction. Tiz, you reckon 3-2?
I'm thinking 2-0. First home win of the season. Clean sheet. Big confidence booster. Move on to Norwich midweek.
I'm looking forward to it.
So I've written these down because we always do the predictions, but we never actually react on them. But that's right in front of me. So next week we'll have a look at that, and we can actually remember what we said. So we can actually have some feedback on our actual predictions, because we normally do them, but we don't actually react to how they were. So next week.
But have you seen what is occurring at the Watford game for people who are going to the game?
They get free booze, don't they?
We're getting free drinks. Yeah.
It's
going well when we're giving away free stuff every week. So
I mean, Leicester do it, so they're just trying to follow. We're just trying to follow their footsteps. We both have clappers. We both got a great.
No, the clappers haven't come back this year.
We've still got the fire. I've not been for a long time.
We've got the fire.
Have we still got fire?
We still got the fire. We don't have multicoloured fire anymore. I don't know where those have gone.
I know.
Yeah, we don't have the multicoloured fire anymore. We've got the normal fire, and then the normal fire doesn't work sometimes. But the light show is going to be back.
Oh, yay.
So that's going to get everyone ready.
I'm nervously looking forward to the game.
Is it on? Wait, so is it late?
It's late kickoff on Sky, 5:30.
I'm going to the Derby game and then sprinting to
I don't think I've ever seen
somewhere that shows it.
We played football for about a year and a half. I don't think I've ever seen you before.
Not seen my defensive blocks, right? When I come back, I'm wearing one of those blocks.
You don't go forward. You don't go past the halfway line.
Someone's got to defend, don't they?
No, you don't defend, Tizard. What, in 5-a-side? Or are you talking about 11-a-side here?
Oh, no, that's an incredibly unhappy face.
Fine, you'll see in December.
You'll
see late December.
He's gonna 2-foot you. That's what
No, not in an aggressive way. I mean, it's just mean my
accidentally he's gonna slip over.
Okay, well you can prove us wrong then. Prove us wrong.
I've got nothing to prove.
So we've kind of gone through the Watford game. We haven't done it for a while. Do you want to have a look at the fantasy teams?
No.
My fantasy team hasn't been great.
I mean, I had a decent week, so this is why I brought it up.
Of course you have.
To be fair, I got over.
Mate, you follow every single possible fantasy league account. If you're not doing well, then there's a problem with you.
To be fair, you criticised me for having double Aston Villa defenders or defensive-minded players. They kept a clean sheet. So.
Okay, fair play. No, that's good. I didn't criticise. I was just saying that it's risky. I didn't say.
I mean, to be fair, you might as well criticise because I had a horrendous season so far. So you're well in your rights.
Yeah, I hate Todd Cantwell. That's
Todd Cantwell. Yes,
he came off the bench.
I had faith. Yes, yeah.
I had Mason Mount off the bench with one.
Yes. Get in.
Get in there.
Notable performances, Harry? Who did you have in yours?
I had Mane because he scored in his last 4 against Crystal Palace, so I put him as the captain for Saturday's fixture. Let me just bash it up.
Please don't do
run through mine quickly while Tiz is getting it up.
We are recording.
Pope got me 9. He had a really good game. It must have been clean sheet, save points, 90 minutes. Robertson, clean sheet. Tamori only got me 1. Pereira, 7. Cantwell got me 10 because I had faith in Cantwell. De Bruyne, 7. Mane, captain with 18. Sterling, 2. Bit disappointed that late goal got disallowed.
Well offside.
Yeah. What was it, a toenail or something like that?
I think it was his shoulder.
Yeah. Vardy, the most points for me, with 12, so probably should have captained him instead of Mane, but there you go. Abraham with 2, who picked up a knock as well, so that'll be interesting. And I had Greenwood on the bench, but he scored, but he didn't come on because everyone played, so that was a bit annoying. But yeah, I got rid of Salah for Mane. Obviously, he had this injury, and to be fair, I'm quite happy to keep Mane going. He seems like he's in good form. So yeah, I'll probably stick with Mane.
I forgot to change my captain. I wanted to captain Vardy. I really wanted to captain Vardy. I forgot to captain Vardy, and I had Abraham as my captain. So
of course you did, Mikey.
It's sad times.
Yeah. For me, Yarmolenko needs to Yarmolenko next week because he only got me 1 point, and I've been saving that. Yeah, 56 points overall.
He's written that down on his whiteboard. You know,
yeah,
he thought of that last weekend and went, "Oh, do you know what? This will be great.
That's right.
It'll be a great joke."
Well, okay. So anything else, then, Tiz? Who was your best performer?
My best performer was Mane, but non-captain wise, because he would have only got 9. Cantwell with 10.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
I've actually gone up in the fantasy league now.
I've gone up as well.
4, yeah, 104. Yeah, where are you?
I'm 71st. So 71st, there you go. Okay. Yeah, Ollie, we don't need to know where you are. There's no point in needing to know where you are.
Right, next. Yeah,
no.
Fourth in the league, by the way.
Who's top overall?
I'd be securing Champions League if this was qualification for the Premier League again.
James Rickson is currently top with 773. Exeter Slowly is his team name. He's just taken over Robin Timms this weekend.
Apple, 3rd, and who's 4th, Mikey? Just want to make sure.
I don't really care who 4th is. No, it doesn't really matter. It's not. You don't get on the podium for 4th.
Right. Okay. Well, you don't get on the podium for 72nd or whatever you had.
Yeah, but we're basically the same anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. So is there?
I'm not bitter.
Talk about Matt Crocker that recently joined us as well, or is going to join us in the early 2020. Is he the director of football? Or going to be the
director of footballing operations.
Someone on Twitter summarised what he's going to do and how this changes it quite nicely, but I can't really remember.
Should have liked it, mate.
I know I should have kept it. I can't find it, but yeah, it basically someone was. I'll have a little look for it, see if I can find it. But someone basically saying about the role that he's going to have at the club and how it alters the other one. So I think it does mean our transfer policy will change a little bit. So the scouting and things will change.
It says
what was the name again? Was it Crocker?
Matt Crocker.
Like whilst he finds it, Mikey, how much of an impact do you think that'll have? Do you think we'll be able to see it early on, or do you think it would take time to realise?
Probably not early on because he focuses a lot on youth, doesn't he? He was with our academy until 2013. He was part of it when Luke Shaw came through and Lallana came through, Bale, Walcott, all of them were coming through the ranks. So it should be quite exciting to have him back at the club. What was that?
I found it. Okay. It took me a long time.
Go on for it, mate.
Yeah. So some insight into what Crocker's appointment means behind the scenes at Southampton FC. So this is by Dan Sheldon, who's a sports journalist for the Southern Daily Echo. He says that Simmons will continue working closely with Ralph for now. Crocker is highly thought of inside of the dressing room, apparently. So apparently the people there do like him, and Saints will restructure the way players are signed. So there's going to be restructuring in the way that we're going to start signing our new players now. So
maybe a new black box.
Possibly, yeah.
Things are exciting.
Oh, there we go.
Bring back Les.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, there we go. That
wasn't a very happy reaction from Tizard. He was not happy with that comment either.
To be fair, it wasn't horrendous. It's a bit like a Pochettino situation. Eventually they've just got to separate ways. go their different paths, and they'll both be more successful without each other. Well, we haven't been.
Where could you see Poch going?
Probably Bayern.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll get another job till not through their choice, but I think he'll wait to the start of next season because then there'll be more jobs available.
I think he'll do United. I think he will do United because I don't think Bayern would want him because Bayern like that possession tiki-taka style. Poch doesn't do that. Poch does the counter-attacking, the high pressing, and that's what United were built on for 26 years or so.
Poch doesn't really use wingers though. That's the problem. Poch doesn't. That's why Lucas Moura didn't really fit in that much, and other players, because United just don't play. Pochettino doesn't play with wingers, and United their best players seemingly are on the wings most of the time. That's my only sort of thing where they have to change the philosophy with players like Martial have to be more of a central striker. Rashford going as unfavoured or favoured, but not as good as striker position, stuff like that.
Phil Jones isn't a winger.
I don't think it's really that too much of an issue because if he does need to restructure and get it out, there will be people that come in for Martial. Rashford can play a more central role. He's had a go at playing up front, and if that's who Poch wants to go with up front, then that's.
I'm pretty sure Poch also played with wingers when he was down with us. I think it was more of a choice for Spurs because they only had one or two decent wingers. There wasn't a lot of backup there.
Give it a season and a half, and Rodgers will go to United.
Really?
Brendan Rodgers will go to United.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not going to write that on my whiteboard. For a year and a half. That's a long way away. But okay, yeah.
Wayne Rooney off the back of his Derby coaching will go to United. They're just going to go for
he's going to the game on Saturday. So.
Ferdinand will get a go. Who else will get a go?
Carrick,
Ryan Giggs, Ji-sung Park, Roy Keane.
Okay.
Yeah, Roy Keane. Give Roy Keane the job until the end and just slap every player in that dressing room. That'd be brilliant. Yeah. Mick McCarthy, go on, do it.
They are 1-0 up at the moment. By the time this podcast finishes, they've probably lost. But they are 1-0 up at the moment. So.
Jesse Lingard breaking his duck of nearly a year without assisting or scoring a goal.
Months.
Still was in the England squad at the start.
There we go. Yeah. So should we claw it back to Southampton? Yeah. Let's talk about the questions, Harry. How can they get those questions in?
Saints Pride on the Instagram. I did it late yesterday. Yes, Wednesday was yesterday. Actually, no, I did it about 4-ish. Or did I? I don't know. I did it later than expected. But yeah, it'll be sometime during the Wednesday period. I'll put the questions up there, and you can put them down. We'll answer every single one as long as it is
PG.
Hey.
I just love that.
There was a man having a mental breakdown on my camera.
And you could have been going yourself. You're going, I'll put it out this time. No, did I? What did I put that time? I'm not sure. Me and Mikey could have just left. We could have gone for a cover or something. Yeah.
Bring the bean can back. Bring the bean can back. We want the bean can.
The frame. If you do want to have a look on the video,
still in the
frame. But they could also use Twitter. They can have a look in there.
Yeah.
When podcasts go out, notifications, get the questions in, yada yada yada. Put the notifications on there, and when there will be a notification of the podcast releasing, it'll be there on Twitter. Link straight to there. We're on 66 followers at the moment. Trying to help us get there to 100. Go on.
I'm already following.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jamie normally plugs his Twitter, so might as well see if you can try and get us up to the triple digits. We'll see how it goes. But thank you very much for listening. It's been me, Ollie. I've also been joined by
Harry,
Mikey.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again next